Sleep Smart with Dr. Mercy. I'm a pediatric doctor and I love talking about sleep because sleep is really important for children's health. So today we're actually diving into a big one, screens and how they affect sleep and the quality of sleep that children will get. So I mean, if you are a parent or a carer who has got a child who is stuck to their screen, be it a phone, a tablet, playing games, or watching TV right up until it's bedtime, you're not alone. I think it's become such a common habit in most households now, and and oftentimes most families find it really difficult to break that habit, as with all habits. However, what we do know is that screen use before bedtime can actually be quite detrimental to children's sleep, and it does disrupt the quality of sleep that they get. The problems you have with screens are quite widespread, but the main things to think about are: the first one is the emission of blue light, which makes us want to wake up. So we sleep because our bodies produce a hormone called melatonin. I call it the sleepy portion. Yeah. So this hormone is produced when our bodies recognize that it's bedtime. So whether it's the dimming of the lights, it's getting darker outside. People who live in countries such as the UK, where the sun rises very early in summer, will bear testimony to the fact that actually when the light shines very early, children also wake up very early, unless you've got blackout blinds or blackout curtains in their rooms. The reason this happens is because our bodies know to wake up when there's light. So when you're exposed to light right up until bedtime, that particular type of light which comes from screens, the brain is switched on. The brain understands that this is time to be awake. It is time for to maintain alertness. It is not time for sleeping, and therefore you're going to end up with a child whose bedtime is quite delayed. They'll struggle to fall asleep, and the quality of sleep that they'll get is probably not going to be very good as well. And then there are some people who say actually there are now tools or gadgets that you can use to reduce the amount of blue light that you get from the screen you're using. But there's also another element which we actually, some of the evidence that's coming out now suggests that actually it might not just be, it's not, the issue with screens is not just limited to the light, but it is also the scrolling that you do, or the activity that your brain is subjected to when you're watching a screen. So that scrolling, some people might call it mindless, or if you're watching a game or you're playing or talking to your friends on the phone, responding to messages, that is an engaging activity. Even though it might feel quite passive because you're relaxed and a child is sitting in bed, they're preparing for bed, but what that does is the mind is racing because it's having to keep up with all the funny cat videos that they're watching, or the messages that they're receiving. In response to that, the brain is awake and makes and more alert, and this will definitely affect the sleep quality as well. So those are the two most important things to think about when it comes to screen use and bedtime. So you might be thinking, well, actually, how much screen time is good enough screen time in the day? Should I be limiting my child to this amount of screen? We do not have enough evidence to tell us, to say how much screen time is good enough or how much screen time is going to be harmful in children. But the Royal College of Pediatrics in the United Kingdom has published clear evidence or clear guidance to say actually limiting screen use for an hour before bedtime, or that is their recommendation, to say limiting screen time to an hour before bedtime will help to improve sleep in children. And that is where I'm speaking from. And so some families actually would then say, actually, my child uses screens to relax, and they would struggle if I were to take away the screens. So there are many ways to do it. You might choose to just do it in one day and say, that's it, no more screen time for an hour before bed. But obviously you're going to deal with the fallout of that stance. But you could do it in a slower way. So maybe start off with 15 minutes before and replace that activity, that screen activity, with something else more calming. It could be maybe drawing together or reading a book, or you reading to them, depending on the age of the child or what they like to do. And then setting one way that most families find helpful is limiting the places where the screens are. So having a TV in the bedroom, or a phone in the bedroom, or electronics in the bedroom, laptops, computers, all of that has actually been found to contribute to less sleep, whether you're actually actively using these gadgets or not. So making the bedroom a screen-free zone will go a long way in supporting not having screens before bedtime, because if then you do your bedtime routine with bathing, teeth brushing, and changing into pajamas and all of that, you're doing all of that in a space where the focus is just for sleeping, and that will go a long way to support not having screens before bedtime. So setting limits, replacing the activity and choosing something else that the child might enjoy doing or you doing for them. All of these things will help to support not having screens before bedtime, and this will help a child to get, first of all, enough sleep. Remember, children who are school going age need between 9 to 11 hours of sleep, depending on the child's predisposition. And then those ones who are a bit older, teenagers, you're talking about at least between 8 to 9 hours, or 10 hours in some instances. And for them to be able to achieve this, then they need to go to bed to fall asleep on time. So when you have put them to bed, they need to be able to fall asleep quickly, and to then have a good quality of sleep when they do actually sleep, and not have fragmented sleep, which they will end up having if they're having that screen time an hour before bed. So thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, like the video or put a comment in the section below. Other topics that you want discussing, you can also mention them there. And any questions you might have, I'll be happy to answer as much as I can. See you next time. Bye.